Imagine the deafening silence of a teenage bedroom late at night. The glow of a single laptop screen illuminating the tear-stained face of a girl who feels completely invisible to the world outside her window. For millions of teenagers across the globe, this room is a prison of anxiety, self-doubt, and the crushing weight of simply not fitting in. But what happens when that quiet, invisible girl picks up an acoustic guitar and decides to broadcast her deepest, darkest insecurities to the entire world? What happens when the diary entries of a bullied teenager collide with the blinding lights and deafening roar of the biggest television stage on the planet? This is not just a story about a singing competition. This is the raw, unfiltered journey of how a self-proclaimed misfit weaponized her pain, conquered her paralyzing fears, and created one of the most profoundly emotional television moments of the decade. Do not look away, because the girl who was once terrified to speak is about to make the whole world listen. To truly understand the magnitude of Sophie Pecora's triumph, we must first travel back to the quiet corners of her childhood, long before the golden confetti ever rained down. Born in the United States, Sophie was not the kind of child who naturally commanded attention. While other kids were loud, outgoing, and effortlessly navigating the complicated social hierarchy of middle school, Sophie felt like an alien observing a world she could not understand.
She was battling a severe case of social anxiety, a silent storm that raged inside her mind every single day. The hallways of her school were not a place of friendship. They were a terrifying gauntlet where she felt misunderstood, isolated, and targeted by the casual cruelty of her peers. She was, in her own words, a misfit. When the noise of the real world became too loud to bear, Sophie retreated into the only sanctuary she had, her bedroom. It was within those four walls that she discovered her lifeline. She picked up a guitar and began to translate the heavy, suffocating feelings in her chest into chords and lyrics. Her songwriting was not about writing catchy pop melodies or manufacturing fake happiness. It was a desperate, authentic form of survival. She began to write songs that read exactly like diary entries, detailing the sting of being left out, the exhaustion of faking a smile, and the deep desire to simply be seen for who she truly was. She discovered a unique artistic voice, blending soft, melodic acoustic pop with sudden, sharp transitions into rapid-fire spoken-word poetry and rap. But creating art in the shadows can only heal you so much. Eventually, every artist must face the terrifying prospect of sharing their soul with the world. The digital age offers a unique shield for the socially anxious. At the age of 13, terrified of the judgment of her classmates, but desperate for a connection, Sophie turned to the internet.
She set up a camera in her safe haven, hit the record button, and began uploading her original songs to YouTube. Behind the safety of a screen, she could finally speak her truth without the paralyzing fear of face-to-face interaction. Slowly, her raw vulnerability began to resonate. Strangers in the comments section began to whisper back, telling her that they felt the exact same way. The girl who felt entirely alone in her hometown suddenly realized she was part of a global tribe of broken, misunderstood souls. However, the comfort of the digital world is ultimately a temporary fix. True growth requires stepping out of the shadows. As her online following grew, Sophie realized that if she truly wanted her message to reach the people who needed it most, she had to do the one thing that terrified her more than anything else in the world. She had to step out from behind the camera, leave the safety of her bedroom, and walk on to a physical stage. And not just any stage. She made the unthinkable decision to audition for America's Got Talent, a television phenomenon notorious for crushing dreams and exposing flaws to an audience of 10 million unforgiving viewers. As she stood in the wings of the massive auditorium, her heart hammering against her ribs and her hands sweating against the neck of her guitar, she stared out at the intimidating judging panel. Will the crushing pressure of the real world silence her fragile voice once again, or is she finally ready to roar?
Her initial audition for season 14 was a massive leap of faith. Walking onto the stage in a simple beanie and an oversized shirt, looking every bit like the quiet kid at the back of the classroom, she performed an original song titled 7th Grade. The judges were entirely unprepared for what came out of her mouth. The contrast between her shy, whispering speaking voice and the fierce, rapid-fire rap verses of her song left the audience stunned. She survived the first round, proving that her talent was real. But surviving the initial audition is merely the beginning of the nightmare. The competition immediately shifts into the brutal, unforgiving phase known as the judge cuts. The stakes were suddenly raised to an unimaginable level. The pressure cooker of the judge cuts is designed to break weak performers. The audience is louder, the judges are infinitely more critical, and the margin for error is absolutely zero. Furthermore, this specific round featured a guest judge, the legendary multi-award-winning country music superstar, Brad Paisley, a man who has spent his entire life mastering the art of storytelling through music. Knowing that her entire future hung in the balance, Sophie made a terrifyingly brave choice. Instead of playing it safe with a popular cover song, she decided to perform her most deeply personal, painfully raw original track to date, a song simply titled Misfits.
As she stepped up to the microphone, the massive theater fell into a tense, heavy silence. She was about to bare her deepest childhood traumas, the bullying, the isolation, and the tears, to the very world that had caused them. She closed her eyes, strummed the first chord, and the entire room held its breath. The performance of Misfits was not just a song. It was a heart-wrenching confession broadcast on national television. Sophie's voice trembled with genuine emotion as she sang about the days she spent eating lunch alone in the bathroom to avoid the cruel stares of her classmates. She sang about the desperate wish to change her personality just to fit into a mold that was never meant for her. But as the song progressed, her vulnerability morphed into an unstoppable, fierce power. The delicate acoustic melody exploded into a blistering spoken word rap, her words cutting through the air like a knife. She was no longer a victim. She was a warrior, declaring that it is perfectly acceptable to be different. When the final chord echoed through the auditorium, the silence was shattered by a deafening, thunderous standing ovation. The audience was not just cheering for a good performance, they were cheering for the absolute bravery of a fragile teenager. The judges were visibly moved, wiping tears from their eyes. But it was guest judge Brad Paisley who delivered the ultimate validation.
He looked directly at the trembling girl on the stage and spoke words that would change her life forever. He told her that he had been a teenager who felt exactly like her, completely out of place. He leaned into his microphone and said, "I do not think you are a misfit at all. I think you are exactly where you belong." And with those profound words, Brad Paisley stood up and slammed his hand down on the golden buzzer. The theater exploded. Blinding gold confetti rained down from the ceiling, covering the stage as Sophie collapsed into tears of absolute disbelief. In that one beautiful moment, all the years of pain, isolation, and bullying were washed away by a golden shower of pure acceptance. Sophie Pecora did not go on to win the grand prize of America's Got Talent that season, but what she achieved is infinitely more valuable than $1 million check or a temporary headline. She won the hardest battle of all, the battle for her own self-worth. Her journey on that stage created a legacy that extends far beyond the confines of reality television. By bravely exposing her deepest wounds, she created a universal anthem for the broken, the lonely, and the misunderstood. Her story forces us to look in the mirror and confront our own insecurities. We have all experienced that suffocating feeling of being a misfit in our own lives, whether in a crowded high school cafeteria, a demanding workplace, or even within our own social circles.
Sophie proved that you do not need to change your quiet nature to be heard in a loud world. You do not need to fit in to be spectacular. Her golden buzzer moment remains a permanent, shining reminder that our darkest vulnerabilities, when embraced and shared with courageous honesty, can actually become our greatest, most beautiful superpowers. If a terrified girl with a guitar can turn her pain into gold, then perhaps there is a place in this world where every single misfit truly belongs.